Hey guys, welcome back to my kitchen. Today we are making creamy mushroom pork chops. Nothing says fall like one pot recipes. Super easy, super quick, and this recipe is no different. Comes together in 30-45 minutes. I've been seeing one pot meals all over my social media page. So have you, and so it just put me in the spirit for these pork chops. I really do love pork. For all those pork haters out there, I don't want to hear that. You're missing out. I promise you, pork is where it's at. But if you don't like pork, by all means, there are substitutes that you can use in place of the pork chops. We do have a little bit of prep work that we do have to knock out first. So we'll go ahead and get that going, and then everything else is super easy, super quick. The first thing we are prepping are mushrooms. We're just gonna dice these up. You can use whatever mushrooms you like. And guys, like always, the ingredients will be down in the caption below. And if you don't like mushrooms, honestly, just grow up at that point. If you're not allergic to them, you have no reason not to like them. But go ahead and take the little base off them. You can keep this on if you want, but I just like to take it off. And then now, you just dice them up to very fine pieces. If you want them smaller, go smaller. But you also got to think, when we cook these down, they're going to shrink significantly enough. I don't even know if I said that right. But just like so, put them in a container beside you. And then just chop them all up, rinse and repeat like I always say. Till you have all that done. And then we'll consider that to the side. And then we'll get started on our pork chop. Oh, and while I'm doing this, I'm reminded of one thing. Some people like to wash their mushrooms. Do not wash your mushrooms because it will soak all that water up like a sponge. If you want to, just take a paper towel and wipe any excess dirt off that you think is crazy. But God made dirt, and dirt don't hurt, so you will be just fine if you don't do it. I'm sure we eat nastier things in this world, so eating some dirt off a mushroom, I promise you, will not kill you. The next thing we have to prep are our pork chops, and these are just pork loin chops. You can use bone-in, whatever cut of pork you want to use, or whatever protein that you choose. We're gonna season them up with a few things, so get you a bowl. What I'm gonna do is just place these right inside of it. These are hefty. Hey, we're gonna add a little bit of Italian seasoning, about a tablespoon. Maybe that's 2 tablespoons. A little bit of salt, of course. Probably about a half tablespoon. And then the last thing we're gonna add is a little bit of black pepper. A couple lugs of that. Crank, crank, crank. This is the meanest workout ever. Crank that. Okay. And now, just go in there with your hands, give this a good mix. Make sure everything is very well coated. And this is a very simple seasoning. It's nothing crazy. And like always, guys, you can season it with whatever you like, whatever you're feeling. There's no perfect way to season a pork chop. It's just as long as you like it. But make sure you salt it enough. You don't want your food to be under salted for sure. So once that's mixed in together, to get a nice crust on these pork chops and to make our nice, beautiful sauce that we're going to be making with the pork chops, we're going to add a little bit of flour. So the flour is just going to coat the pork chops on each side. And then when we put it in the pan, get a nice crust formed on it. And then when we make the mushrooms, like I said, with the sauce as well, that's going to help everything thicken up very nicely. But we'll mix that together. Beautiful. You can even feel it. It's already taking all the moisture out. But don't be alarmed. It's going to give us a nice crust on it. Okay. And once you got them seasoned, look, beautifully seasoned, nice curl on them. We'll go ahead and set this to the side, bring back our cast iron, and we're ready to eat. Before we start cooking our pork chops, we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of olive oil. I don't know why I blur my words. Sometimes I really can't speak. I really can't. And we're just going to move this around. Don't burn yourself. But allow that to heat up, heat through. And you know it's ready to go when you start seeing it shimmer. It looks really, I don't even know how to really describe it, but it's like shimmering almost. So let that heat up for just a couple seconds, and then we'll add our pork chops. So now just go in there and lay your pork chops down. Press them down, get that nice contact with the pan. You want to get a nice sear on it. We're not going to overcrowd. I think 3 will be just enough. Press them down, get a nice good grip on it. I got to make sure your pan's not hot. Get that oil all around it. And now we're just gonna let these sear for about 5 to 6 minutes till a nice crust forms. Hopefully it forms, but once that forms, and then we'll flip it over, let it cook through. Now, after 5 minutes, you can start to see the crust form on the bottom. I know there's a crust on it. Go ahead and just flip them over. I can never grab stuff with it. Beautiful crust. Y'all see that? Beautiful crust. Flip them over, and we're gonna turn the heat down to low, medium low, and just let them cook all the way through to an internal temperature of 145. Don't guess. Get a thermometer, check. You'd rather be safe than sorry, but just let those cook for a little bit longer. we'll take them out and get the mushroom started. Okay, so now let's double check our pork chops just to make sure. Can't be too safe. They look done to me, but like I said, okay, bang. Our pork chops are done. We can go ahead and take them out, set them to the side, grab them all, put on a little baking sheet right next to me. To get started on the next ingredient, just add a little bit more oil, about a tablespoon. And then we're gonna go back in there with all of our mushrooms. Add them all up. A lot of mushrooms, right? Don't be worried though. It's going to shrink down significantly. That word is so hard to say. Give them a good mix. And then what I like to do, I'm gonna go ahead and season them with salt so they can release all their juices. A nice pinch. Mushrooms can take a lot. And go ahead and give that a good stir. And just like the pork chops, we're gonna let these sit for about 3 to 5 minutes, cook down, get some nice color on it. And then once it's time, I'll show you what to do next. All right, so now we can see they've shrunk down quite a bit, reduced in the size a lot. We'll give it one more stir just to get all these juices mixed in and incorporated together. Oh my goodness. I love sauteed mushrooms. Sauteed vegetables, period, just really could go with anything, complements anything very well. I really do believe that. So they're looking beautiful to me. We're gonna go ahead and take a third of the mushrooms out of the pot. That looks like, how do you even do a third like that? We'll just say that is a third. And we're gonna save this for later to garnish, go over on top, get all that stuff out. Yeah, that looks good to me. That looks like 2/3 to y'all, right? That's left. Come on now, work with me. And now we're gonna go over the top with a little bit of heavy cream. Turn your pan down a little bit, just so it simmers. We're going to add one thing, or really 2 more things on top of this. Add a little bit of minced garlic. Y'all know I've been using this canned stuff a lot lately. Add that, and then we're gonna go over the top with just a little bit of smoked paprika. Not too much. Don't want to turn the sauce completely. I guess it'll turn pink. I really don't know. Let's see. And now we're just gonna give this a good mix. A good mix now. So you want to bring this to a boil, and then we're gonna turn it down to a simmer. Let it get real nice and thick. I feel like some Parmesan cheese could really go good in this as well. But bring this to a boil. Bring this to a boil. I can't speak. I'm telling you. Bring this to a boil. It'll thicken up, and then we'll go ahead and I'll show you what to do next. Okay. So now that we see it's at a boil, go ahead and turn this down to nice medium low. I can never tell with this thing. And now we're just gonna let this simmer for about 5 to 7 minutes till it gets nice and thick. As we can see, when we draw a spoon through it, it doesn't really keep its trail. That'll obviously thicken up and you'll be able to see a nice trail. And that's how I'll know the sauce is ready to go for me. But you can always reduce it to as thick as you like. But we'll go ahead and wait for that to come, and then I'll show y'all what to do next. And while this is getting thick, go ahead and start tasting it for enough salt and pepper, more seasonings, whatever you want to add. This is where you do it. Let's see. Oh my God, that's real good. I'm gonna do a little bit more salt. But be careful, guys, don't over salt. And then just a little bit more black pepper, just like so. Give this a mix, and as we can see, it really has thickened up quite a bit. Y'all see in the beginning, it was really hard for that line to not dissipate. I don't even know, but you see it's a nice trail. It doesn't fill in immediately. That's how you know it's good. I'm gonna go a little bit longer, and then we're gonna add our pork chops back to it, and we're gonna be eating great. Now it is nice, thick, just like I like it. We're gonna add one thing. Go ahead, turn that heat off. We're going to go in there with a little bit of fresh thyme. If you don't have fresh thyme, by all means, dried thyme does work just fine. Almost dropped the spoon in there. Give that a nice mix. And then that's just so that thyme steeps into the sauce. Almost made a mess. And then now, to top everything off, we're going to add our beautiful, lovely pork chops back in it, just to heat it up, just to make sure that everything is nice and beautiful. This pork chops needs some love too. Oh my goodness. Just to heat up. And don't spoon that sauce over the top. You don't want to ruin that crust. So go ahead, and then I like to just pour those juices, honestly, back into the pan. And we're just making sure that these pork chops are nice and heated through. They've been sitting for about 5 to 10 minutes. So just to make sure everything is nice and warm. And then y'all know, every one pot, this is cilantro. I thought this was parsley. Then I started smelling, I was like, this smells like cilantro. Oh yeah, that's definitely cilantro. If you're a cook, you've made that steak before. But you can top it with parsley if you like. If not, by all means, it's all good. We'll go ahead and plate this up and we're ready to eat. Take that pork chop, whichever one looks beautiful to you. Take it and place that right on the pan, right next to you. And then now get you some of that sauce. You don't want to go crazy with it to keep the crust, but just a nice little some, just like so. Then we're gonna come back with these reserved mushrooms that we saved from earlier. We're just gonna place them right on top. Make it look pretty. How's that look, guys? Y'all can't really tell. I think we can do one more. Not gonna skimp out here. And then now, I'm just gonna go over the top with a little bit more of that thyme, just to give it a nice pop of color. Oh, this is so good. I can smell it. Bang. That looks beautiful to me. I call this the masterpiece. I hope it doesn't slide. It's sliding slowly. But bang, beautiful. Mushrooms, pork chop, sauce. Let's eat. Before I scooch her back, it's only right for me to cut into it for y'all to see it, of course. We're gonna right down the middle. Oh. Nice and beautifully cooked. Oh, it's juicing still. Goodness gracious. Okay, now it's time to scooch her back so I can take this bite. Okay, now we got our bite. Of course, guys, I'm gonna add some more mushrooms. Just how I am crazy with onions, mushrooms do the same thing to me. Goodness gracious, my mouth is literally watering, for real, for real. I know I always say that, but I put them on backwards too. Cheers to y'all. Cheers to fall. One pot recipes. Number one down. This is exactly what I've been waiting for months. Fall to come back, make these easy, cozy meals that are really delicious and super easy to make. Oh my goodness. And this one is super quick. Some recipes take hours to make. This is super simple, packed with flavor. The mushrooms, the thyme. I love it. I really can't complain about this dish. I think this will go good with some apple juice or even a margarita. It's Friday. I'm about to have a margarita. But without further ado, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like what you see today, hit that like button, hit that subscribe, show love. Comment down below what fall recipes you want to see. I got some things up here cooking, but let me know what you want to see next. But I'll see you next week.